Right, so now we are being joined by Queen, and Queen is one of the rising young stars to join Totem Kitchens in Gauteng. And those are not my words, those come from your boss's mouth. So he did call you the rising young star. And one of the reasons why we've chosen to chat to Queen is that it's not that long since she herself was at college studying. So her journey will be very relatable to students, and be able to share some hints and tips. So let's start off, Queen. Like, it wasn't that long since you were studying. What is, when you started to look for a job, where did you feel you were lacking in knowledge? What did you find the most challenging getting into the industry where you had to learn?
Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Neil. Hi,
Hi.
everybody. Thank you so much for having me over here. I'm really, really excited. I think just to give a brief background, I'm Queen, as you mentioned. I now work at Totem Kitchens. I studied interior design at TUT. I finished, when did I finish? 2021. So yeah, it wasn't so long ago, and I've only been in the kitchen industry for about 2 years now. 2 years, two best years, I must say. But how did I get into the kitchen industry? Well, I started off working for an architecture studio. I think that's what most of us are more familiar with. It's almost like the kitchen industry is the hidden gem of the interior design world, and I'm so glad that I did find it. And it's so funny how I came across it was I was just browsing the internet. I was like, I'm sure there's so many spheres to interior design. I need to explore them. And I think where I was, we're so used to just drawing up plans and then sending them through to shop fitters. And I was like, I'm very interested on that other side of the world, what's happening on that side. And that's how I came across with the kitchen industry. So yeah, where I was before, that's where I was. I was at an architecture studio with doing retail plans, retail, commercial, residential, things like that. And I just decided to take the switch to the kitchen industry.
And challenge-wise, did you find that you were equipped to make that move into the kitchen industry? Are there a few things you wish you'd known more about when you started? Or
Mm.
did the kitchen companies you work with were they really good at training you up when you started with them?
Mm. Challenge wise, it was quite challenging, I won't lie. I think even in varsity, when they say take technical drawings very seriously, it's one of your most important subjects. They knew what they were talking about. It was quite challenging because every single thing about this industry is technical. You don't just. I remember I used to have a lecturer in varsity, Clifford, and he would always say, "You don't just design." And now more than ever, that makes sense because every single thing that you do, you have to be held accountable for. So it was quite challenging. I feel like my technical skills weren't to par, but as soon as I joined Totem, they just treated me like I'm fresh from varsity. And it's every day is a learning process. Every day is a learning process. I think even for the guys who have been in this industry for so many years, they come across things that are just like, oh, I never thought of that. Because also they are trained, people see things that they like. We have to try and implement this and keep up with technology and things like that. But for me, I would say, yeah, most challenging was just the technical aspect of things and the construction side of things, because where I was before, I would just design something, send it, and then people have to think about how it's going to be manufactured and how it's going to be put together. So right now, I'd say the construction side of things, yeah, it's a bit challenging even till today. Like how are we gonna put that together? It's something that you always have to be cognizant of. And yeah, I don't think one could ever be prepared enough unless if you are from the industry itself. Um, which I think it could be a good and a bad thing, but a good thing in a sense that everybody here is always learning, so you won't really be an outcast like that. But also a bad thing because there's just so much to learn. There's just so much to learn. Yeah.
And what are you finding that you're enjoying the most about your current position?
Mm, I think because the position that I'm at right now, I'd say I'm more of like a junior level, and I am enjoying the learning process, but it's always exciting just seeing the final product. I think seeing your product come to life is just it's always just so worth it. There's so many steps to get to that, and most often than not, before you get there, you're filled with so much emotions. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're frustrated, you're this, and then there comes this beautiful product, and just like it was all worth it. That is, you know what? It was all worth it. So yeah, I'd say
And then,
that's yeah.
yeah, looking moving forward, I know a lot of students also go, oh, well, what kind of money can I earn? What kind of opportunities? So you're starting to see now, you started off in a junior position, people are starting to see your skill set, your talent. Looking forward, what kind of opportunities do you foresee for yourself as far as being able to earn a good salary in the kitchen industry and then also just grow in competence and, yeah, in leadership within the industry?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's stepping into the kitchen industry. Obviously, I'd say most of us don't really know what we're really getting ourselves into, but it's very important that every single day you just always put your best foot forward. Always aspire for growth, always look at who you would want to be in the office and just always present yourself as a person, even on a junior level that you are. But there's great potential over here. It's usually divided into like two. We'd have designers and then we also have like sales consultants. And usually I'm on the sales consultant side, which means that I do design and also I interact with clients and sell the product. And roles like that are usually commission structure based, and that is also dependent on the company that you're working for. It's dependent on the employer and employee, what your commission structure might be. But usually we have like a basic and, as I said, the commission structure. And I mean, like sales is a high potential earning industry. What you put in is what you get out. And I think that on its own is also great motivation to always want to be your best, present the best, and just give the best service. Because the more sales you make, obviously, the more commission you make, which means that the better quality of life you are creating for yourself. And yeah, it differs from one employee to another. I mean, like, and kitchens differ. You get entry levels, you get high end customers, you get middle class customers. So it really depends on who you're with. I mean, like a kitchen can range from anything from 200K, you can do a full house to like 1.8 million. And depending on your commission structure, I mean, like if you design, say for instance, this kitchen is around 500K and your commission is about 5%, you can do the math on that as to where it is you can land. So really the sky is the limit when it comes to this kind of industry. I think it's slept on, but you can have a very comfortable life, which will make everything else easier for you. So yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned the fact that you are in design and sales. The designers we chatted to earlier from Spotlight, both of them are design only, so they're not client facing. So just for the student,
Mm,
um, you need to look at your own skill set. Do you have the personality that can sell, that can land a deal, that can get the client to part with the money? Are you that more gregarious, outgoing personality who can do both design and sales? And if you're not, if you are a more quiet, analytical person who prefers to sit design, then you need to look at the companies that you're applying to work with.
mhm,
Do they require you to do both sales and design? Like at Totem, you can do both.
mhm,
So if you end up getting a job with Easy Life Kitchens, all their designers have to also sell. And then you get
mhm,
people who are like Spotlight and do more joinery work. There they'll have separate design experts and sales experts. So I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it's a good learning curve. I'm going to let Niele then chat to you about a project you want to share with us that you worked on that you're particularly proud of.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Queen.
Hi, Niele.
You can share your screen.
There
you go.
Awesome.
Yes, that's beautiful. I can see why you'd want to show off this project.
That makes me happy. I'm glad that it speaks for itself, Niele. That means that I can just let the picture do all the talking.
Yes, just leave it on there.
This is an office space that we created for a client here not far from us, by Stain City, and it was their second home, so they were quite familiar with the cabinetry industry. They knew exactly what they wanted. They were very hands-on, which is something that is very refreshing in a way.
Yeah.
And this was an office that we had designed for the husband, but I'm gonna show you on the next slide. The wife also wanted like a designated area where she could also have her own little spot, you know. And the nice thing about the cabinetry industry is that a kitchen is, well, I'm just gonna use a kitchen for now, even though I'm showing an office. A kitchen is such a vital part of a home. You know, in varsity they used to talk about this whole thing of floor, ceiling, and floor, wall, and ceiling integration. And I remember one of our lecturers would always say, you know, it was a good interior design if you take away all of the soft finishes and the room still speaks to you. And that's the beauty about being in the cabinetry industry, because we are dealing with things that are part of the structure of the home. So if you were to see over here, can you see my cursor?
Yes.
So over here we have these slats, which are actually part of the architecture of the home, the structural part of the home. And we decided to incorporate that in the interior design of the home. So as you can see over here, we decided to include these slats over here. And because their ceiling, their slab is concrete, that's the reason why we went with this wood finish, just so that everything could speak the same language.
Yeah, it ties in with the architecture.
Exactly. So if you to see over here, the structure of the home is more industrial, and that's what we try to go with. Played with the raw finishes, your wood. We have supermat over there. We have glass. We have aluminium. And yeah, I feel like it just turned out very beautiful, and that's exactly what the brief was. You can also see even with the flooring, it's not the same type of wood, but then the color schemes complement each other. So that's I'd say that's exactly. I'd say also that's one of the things that you should take into the consideration, the structural element of the house and how you would complement that, you know. And that's also the beauty of this industry, is because you deal with so many people, you deal with builders, you deal with architects, you deal with interior designers, so
and clients
and the clients all to create this beautiful product.
Like you said, this client, it wasn't their first rodeo, so they had a knowledge of what they want. And when it comes to things like matching the flooring with the wood grain, do you find you need to sort of educate consumers a lot of the time on what would work best in terms of finishes and details?
Yeah, and it was very efficient because they actually didn't have any designer for their house. They were their own designers. But I think them being very hands-on really helped with bringing this product to life. And then over here, we have this one that we created. And it's so funny because here we're dealing with the client initially. So they wanted more of like a dark, moody setting for their kitchen. And I'm going to show you the final product, which is the actual kitchen. You can see how that is.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, what the inside.
And exactly. And it ties in with what I was saying earlier. What I was like, you know, through the design process, you'll be frustrated, you'll be tired, you'll be this, because there's so many changes. But you look at the final product and you're just like, it was all worth it. Because in between, from the initial meeting to the final product, it could literally switch up like this. But part of the reason why this switched up, part of the reason why this went from this to that is because halfway through, the client decided to involve a designer, and the designer was like, you know what, you guys have a very beautiful home. You have beautiful big windows. How about we just complement it more by having the space look more airy and more
Light
open,
and
you know?
bright.
So
Mm.
exactly. So we didn't really change the design per se. The only thing that we changed really is the color scheme. We went from this very dark gray to this
Mm.
beautiful white, and I
Yeah.
think it was just the perfect choice. Yeah, and then we also have the slats over there, the brown and the wood. I feel like wood is such a beautiful and easy way to bring softness to the
Mm.
house because obviously it's a natural material. And yeah, and that's just a few close-ups
And
over there. We have pocket door systems over there. That is complementary of that, which is complementary of the floor, which is complementary of that.
yeah, it all ties
Yeah,
in. And
it
what
all
finish did you
ties
use on the white?
it's a super matte it's a matte finish. Actually no, I'm lying. It's a Juco spray and in the shaker skinny shaker profile. I'm not sure if can you
Okay,
see that?
yeah, yes, yeah.
Yes. It's
I
a
mean, that's
skinny
so timeless
shaker.
and popular. I think we'll be with shaker
Exactly.
kitchens for the rest of our lives.
Exactly. So this is more of like a modern farmhouse look,
Yes,
and I think it cannot be any more modern than this.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and that is the two projects. I just wanted to show you something which was one a kitchen, which is what we
Yeah.
specialize in, and also another element which is like an office space. You can do so much with cabinetry. It isn't just limited to just kitchens, really.
It's beautiful, Queen.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you
Thanks,
very much, Neil.
thanks, Queen. Actually, it's really nice that you showed us how the design originally started in the dark and then developed into the light. We try and share with the students how important it is to unpack the
Mm,
design with your client and often give them your expertise and advice, because just because a client wants something doesn't necessarily always mean it's going to be the right thing for that space, their
mhm.
home, etc. And how drastically different that one design looks just with the simple color swap.
Yep.
And what a change it would have made to their space and the whole ambience of the home if they had stuck with the original color. So I
Mm,
think that we're always stressing, don't forget you've got your original design, but then you've got to allow time for all the adjustments you've got to make as you start unpacking. And this is why have a client having a really comprehensive brief helps you, because if they just go, oh, I like the dark colors, but they can't explain why, then you don't know that they have really thought things through. So that was a great example to help us with what we try and convey to the students. But
no, that
before we
makes
let
sense.
before we let you go, just two last questions. Um, what has been one of the most exciting things you've had to do? I mean, when we met, you were working at Decorex in
Hmm.
Joburg, so working at trade shows and things like that. I know that you've been doing since you've been working in the kitchen industry. But have there been other exciting opportunities that have come your way as part of working in the industry?
I wouldn't really say opportunities per se, but I feel like I do have some great highlights, you know. From the daily highlights that we have on a daily basis, from walking into the office, learning what other people are working on, what did you learn today? So those on its own are little highlights that are adding to my career. But I'd say definitely being a part of Decorates has been a great highlight in my career. I don't even want to lie. Because of that, I'm here now. Being part of those shows have been a great highlight. You meet with so many different people, and it also teaches and reminds you that you should take every single conversation that you have with people seriously because you never know who your next client might be, or where your next opportunity might lie. So I think shows like that are very eye-opening for me. And I think also things like my first sale here at Totem there was a career highlight for me. It was really amazing. And I think also another career highlight for me would be actually just be joining Totem. It's really amazing to be a part of this wonderful company that has been here for so many, almost 2 decades even. Especially at the beginning of my career like this. It's something that I do not take for granted and it makes me feel good on a daily. But yeah, I think so far I think right now the sky really is the limit and it gets more and more exciting each day.
And then last question. Obviously
Mhm.
Clifford and his TUT third years are taking part in in our kitchen project again this year. So
Awesome.
what advice do you have for Clifford and his students, as well as all the other students from the different tertiaries taking part in our project? Yeah, if you're saying to them, I'm going to give you some career advice, why should they potentially look at the kitchen industry as a career? And what advice do you have for them?
I think the first advice that I would take is I'd give them is that every single thing that you're learning in school, do not take it for granted. From technical services, it doesn't matter how small it is. I swear the more years go by, you just like, and I remember we did do that in school. So try and grasp as much as you can, ask those questions as much as you can. Yeah, that would be my first advice. And I think also just try and Stephanie, you touched on something earlier when you're like some companies expect you in the kitchen industry, they expect you to be both a sales rep, or other companies like Totem, you have the choice of just being a designer or a or a sales consultant. But I think it's very important to just always be an approachable person. We are always dealing with people on a daily. We don't deal with just computers. We actually interact with humans. So I think on a personal level, just be an approachable person. As I said before, anybody can be your client, anybody can be your next opportunity, anybody can be your next boss. So always try and put your best foot forward, and always just try and be inquisitive. And yeah, I really would recommend the kitchen industry, because it's such a great stepping stone to into the whole interior design industry. As I mentioned before, you have access to so many people um and so many careers that you wouldn't necessarily be in had you just been in other um sectors of interior design. We deal with builders, we deal with architects, we deal with interior designers, we deal with clients, we deal with project managers. So it opens you up to so many channels, which in the future or even now, those are your contacts, and you now create your own networking portfolio, and yeah, I'd say, as I said also before, even if you are in school, just play the role that you want to be. If you imagine yourself being the best kitchen designer at Totem Kitchens, always walk into class like you are that person, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think mistakes will always be there. You can never run away from them, so you might as well just hit them straight on. Yeah, it's always a learning process, but being positive and just always put your best foot forward, man, and just have fun and just try anything, everything, just try. Yeah, I think even in the cabinetry industry, up until somebody tells you why this can't be done, um, you don't say it can't be done. Yeah.
Queen, that is absolutely awesome, and thank you for your time. We wish you the very best with your career. So hint to the powers that be. Maybe the next Decorex kitchen we see for Totem will be a Queen kitchen.
Yay.
You know what? Hint, hint, and we're gonna leave it there, and I will see you guys at Decorate.
We will see you soon, and thanks for your time, Queen. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much,
Thank
Stephanie. Thank you so
you.
Take
much,
care.
Neely. Thank
Bye.
you, everybody, and good luck with everything.
Thanks, Queen.